On February 12th, I made a strange decision. I swapped out a regular old smartphone for one of these old school flip phones. If you're curious as to why I did that, it's part of our digital minimalism journey through Lent. I invite you to stick around in this video to learn a little bit more about that journey and to learn a little bit about how this flip phone challenge and digital minimalism is going for me and for those in our community. Thanks for watching. Hi everyone, my name is Ember Kelley and I am the Director of Religious Education at the Fourth Universalist Society in the city of New York. As I mentioned in the intro, I have recently made the switch from a smartphone to a flip phone. Some may call it the flip phone challenge. I just call it my new plan. I have been looking for an opportunity to further engage in a more digital minimalist life. And so as part of that, I decided to launch for our Lent program here at Fourth Universalist Society, an effort for all of us to examine our screen time and to use screens a little bit less in our lives, to think about how we're maybe using social media a bit too much, how we're spending all day in front of our screens now that many of us are working from home. And so this digital minimalism journey through Lent is offered up as a chance for us to examine what we might want to give up and see if some of that is in our digital world, if we want to create some better boundaries so that we can have a healthier relationship with the digital world. For me, part of this journey has been switching to a flip phone. I find that it's actually been quite interesting so far, and I will talk about that in just a minute. I've also been setting specific limits about time that I'll spend on YouTube, which has probably been the hardest. I've also been setting time limits on Facebook Messenger for contacting friends, and I have also been setting limits on just general screen usage. I have removed the Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter apps from both my flip phone and from my iPad that I use for all of my work. And so I don't have those on easy access, and I have logged out of them on my browsers as well, as a way to really focus and take time away from social media. For me, as I've mentioned in a previous video about this, this is the culmination of a journey in some sense, as well as the start of a deeper journey. I have been looking at ways to limit my screen time. Once upon a time, I was spending probably around 8 hours a day on social media, whether it was arguing with folks on Twitter, scrolling through Instagram endlessly, or looking for validation on Facebook. I was spending way too much time. Around the end of 2019, I decided to start limiting myself to 1 hour on the phone in terms of any apps, and to limit myself to 2 hours related to social media on my computer. I did often fill that gap with YouTube on that first try, but overall I found myself not using my phone less, and I suddenly had more time to read, more time for adventures, more time to enjoy life. Of course, coronavirus happened in February, March of 2020, and that kind of distracted me a little bit from continuing with my plan for this digital minimalism in my life. I quickly was back messaging everyone, wanting to make sure that I was staying in immediate contact with everybody. And it wasn't until about October that I said, okay, I am getting back to the same principle of limiting myself to 1 hour on the phone and 2 hours of social media on a browser. And so I took that as my opportunity to journey back into this, and then I stumbled upon lots of folks that were saying, hey, I switched to, many people called it a dumb phone, flip phone, a brick phone, lots of different names. And I found myself really intrigued and began plotting and planning this back in like August of last year. What I was really looking for, and what I actually did end up finding in this Shock Classic is the name of this one, was I needed a phone that had WhatsApp so I could stay in touch with international friends. I needed a phone that could do New Jersey Transit. I live in New Jersey and I use the light rail and the bus a lot. And I wanted something that I could easily buy tickets with for the times when there's maybe not a working machine right nearby. And then I wanted something that would enable me to do group texts, because we often use group text here at the congregation as part of our planning for Sundays. And so I wanted something that did all three of those things. And at first it seemed like really quite the challenge to find, but I was really lucky that so far this has met all of my standards, and it does not seem to be giving every bit of my information to Google, Facebook, and all of our technology overlords, which seems like quite a nice break in things. So now that I'm a little bit into this journey, how has this been going for me? So I am coming from this place where I had been at roughly 3 hours of very limited social time prior to this. But even with just removing that, I found that already this has really freed up a lot of time in my days. You may see this little embroidery piece, very Midwestern of me, behind me. I actually was maybe a quarter of the way finished with that, and I finished it very quickly as soon as I gave up having my smartphone and limiting my screen time. I suddenly had time for creative endeavors. I've been reading a lot more and just finding myself with lots more free time. One of the things that's been really beautiful has been that I feel like the interactions that I have, while they may not be as many as I was having on Facebook, are much more meaningful. When I know that somebody is texting me or WhatsApping me, I know that they are taking time to think, oh, I want to message this person, and that just seems a little bit deeper. With having one of these keyboards where I do have to do the old school typing, which luckily I was pretty good at back in the day, I have found that it makes me be much more intentional about my word choices. Like, what do I want to say? How am I going to say it concisely and not with too many words? Which I think has been really good for me. Maybe as I pursue any writing in the future, it will help me be a little bit more concise. So those have been really great things. I did find myself, instantly kind of wanting to switch over to maybe like something like scrolling through YouTube endlessly as a filler. And I've had to, set rules on myself to make sure that I don't do that. And so instead, when I find myself tempted to maybe turn on the screen, even if I'm trying to have a justification for it, I try and turn myself to, can I read a book? Can I spend some time crafting? Can I just sit alone with my thoughts? Do I actually need the screen for work or for an immediate need right now? Or is it something that can wait? And so far, that's just been a really beautiful part of this digital minimalism journey for me. I would love to hear from all of you, both in our comments on our various platforms that this video will be hosted, whether that's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I'd love to hear from you on there. I will also be making a Google form where folks can tell me, are you participating in this journey? Is it something that you are doing because of this challenge at Fourth Universalist Society? Or is this just something that you're really interested in and you stumbled upon our video by searching for digital minimalism? We would love to hear from you and to hear how this journey is going for you. I would definitely encourage folks in our congregation, but in the whole world, to really take a look at your phone usage, your screen time, your social media usage, and to, whether you missed the beginning, whether you missed Ash Wednesday in the beginning of Lent, you can still join us in really trying to make an effort to lower your screen time. I know for me, this is, Lent has given me, perhaps an excuse for why I wanted to do this, but I think that this is going to be a long-term jump. I know originally I had been planning that once a week I would check in on my social media, but I've actually switched that over to I'm not going to check in until after Lent is over. And so I would love to hear if you've decided to join us, if you're just living the digital minimalism life. We'd love to hear from you in the comments and on our Google form. And I would love to include those conversations and those feedback that you give us on future videos. And so make sure to leave that and I can discuss it a little bit in future videos. We do always appreciate if you can give us likes, subscribes, shares. Making sure that our content gets seen helps us, get more of this out there, helps us know that our work is appreciated, and it, really means a lot to us. So thank you everybody for stopping by and watching this video, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.